Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this week's Europass Talk. My name is Susan Galliano, and I am a head teacher trainer here at Europass and a professional counselor and a person who is endlessly curious. And I am a head teacher trainer. And every week you get to hear my phone as I turn this on. And it's great to be here again. It's a beautiful day here in Florence. I hope it's beautiful wherever you are as well. And it really is starting to feel like a little more like spring after we've had a lot of rainy weeks. And we are excited because we have more and more courses that are in person these days, as more and more teachers are feeling comfortable to travel. And today, we're going to talk about a way that we can really capture our students' interest. Just like we, how we always feel like we're competing for students' interest because their online world is so full of images. It's so full of things that attract their attention. And sometimes our subjects can seem very dry. It can be hard to compete with all of the different stimulation that they have in their lives. And so for this reason, today I have invited Ada Rigacci to join me. And Ada Rigacci, let's have her come on in so everyone can see her. Hello, Ada.
Hi, Susan. Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Great. Thank you very much.
That's great. It's so great to have you. I know you are of Italian origin, but you live in Germany.
Yes, I've been living here in Berlin since 2009. So long. Yeah, I'm kind of Germanized, but I was born and grew up in Florence, actually, where you are.
Yay.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how we all are just moving around this earth?
Right.
Finding our where we need to be. Mm-hmm. And Ada, I was really interested in having you come on to the Europass Talk. And I see that people are starting to arrive. Hi, Catalina. And they're starting to arrive. And I think that this topic is particularly important for us right now. Already before the pandemic, teachers were realizing that, we're living in a world where the students, let's say there are so many different things that are grabbing their attention. There are graphics everywhere we look. There's all kinds of multimedia content. There's all kinds of imagery. There are excellent online games that they can play where you feel like you are catapulted right into a virtual reality. And somehow, being in our classrooms where maybe we had an interactive board, but not all schools did. It was a blackboard and some chalk, or a whiteboard and a marker, and a lot of talking, a lot of the teacher explaining things. And frankly, now the good thing about the pandemic is teachers have gotten a lot closer to this world. And I know that you have really gotten very involved in this visual thinking strategies. And so much so that you're also, you teach, you are a teacher trainer about it. Mm-hmm. And okay, so for any of our teachers that are here watching, how could you explain visual thinking strategies? Because it sounds a little intimidating, like, oh my goodness, people immediately think I'm not good at drawing, or I'm not an artist, or I'm not very visual. And what could you tell us about that?
Oh, actually, it's very simple. It's a kind of student-centered method that teaches art and literacy and soft skills through just showing a painting.
No.
Really? Yes. That's simple. That's simple. Like the teacher. Yeah, really.
And so, let me see here. So you're saying that I'm an English teacher. I teach English, or I also teach a course in intercultural communications. I have nothing to do with art.
But
and
still,
and I don't have an artistic background.
And that's visual thinking strategies is perfect for you, actually.
Really?
You use it for every subject, and also to teach students how to communicate their own emotions, how to talk about their personal interests. Really, for every subject, for every age. I've been using that with kindergarten children and also with elderly people, once in Poland for a project for elderly people from the public sector, really. So everyone was so engaged in using that. And the method is so simple. You don't need anything but a screen and a picture.
A screen and a picture.
And that's it. And
what kind of a mindset do you think that the teacher needs? Because this is probably what makes the difference.
Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, that's a very good mindset, I believe. I mean, to be honest, it's like the teacher has not all the answers. That's the idea. And you are in the discovery process together with your students. That's the kind of mindset.
So you're asking teachers to step out of the center.
That's the idea.
Yes, to step out of the center and to be kind of part of the exploration. And so I would imagine, in my case, do I need to like really prepare with these pictures, with these photographs? Do I have to do a lot of preparation before, learn about the author? I mean, the painter or the artist?
Not at all. It's not about who is the painter, what's the picture is really about. It's about students discovering and creating different stories about it, really. And what I like about it and what students love about it is that there is no one right answer, no one right interpretation. So teachers don't have to prepare anything. I mean, just choose a picture. Also choose a photograph in Instagram, for example, as I did today for you.
You did. So
Spoiler.
are you going to give us an experience with visual thinking strategies right now?
I am.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so wait, anybody that's watching us, we have some viewers right now. And so what do we need to do?
Just focus on the picture, spend 1 minute time looking at it, and free up your imagination. That's it.
Okay.
And
all right. Well, teachers, any of you who are watching, are you ready to do this? Do you want to try visual thinking strategies right now in real time? Let's do it. All right. Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah. So we can have a look at the photograph I chose for you. And really, I took it from Instagram. And
wow.
That's really, really nice.
Let me put on my glasses here.
First of all, what I really like is that we spend some time all together. I mean, in this case, me and you and the Facebook community of Europass, but in case of a class together with your class, just focusing on one activity. So we just look at the picture. We spend 1 minute just looking at it together. I'm doing it together with you. So let's look at the painting together, or the photograph in this case.
So anyone that's following us, just look at the picture with us and observe. Okay. So for anyone that's just joining us, we're just observing this image. And my dog is very upset.
Why? So are we ready?
I think so. Teachers, are you ready? Write in the chat box and let me know if you are ready. Have you had enough time to look at this image? Let me know. Let's see. I think they're ready. Okay, I'm ready to use this.
Great. So the first question is very simple. It's just, what's going on in this picture? So it's not what do you see. It's very important. It's what's going on in this picture.
Okay.
I'm asking you, Susan, so you can.
Well, what's going on?
Everybody.
There are two children sitting on the ground outside, right outside of a building, and they are looking at each other. They look like they're having a good time. The little girl, I can see a smile, and the little boy is maybe making a face. I'm not sure. I can't get close enough. And then I see they have a dog sitting next to them. They also have some plates on the ground. And I see like some cups, and it looks like they were playing in the dirt. And then off in the distance, I see a rooster, I believe, or some type of a chicken. And I see a tree off in the distance, and some kind of woods, and a very beautiful colored sky.
Beautiful. So you can see two children enjoying, having some nice time together.
Yes.
And you believe they're having some nice time together because you see the girl smiling.
Yes. Yes. She looks like she's laughing at the old, because she's younger.
Oh, okay. What do you see that makes you say that she's younger?
She's smaller than the boy.
Okay, true.
Yes.
And you think they're also having something to eat because you can see some plates and cups. I see.
Yes. And from what I can see, it's almost like they're playing. They're playing like that. They're making food, maybe using the dirt. It's hard for me to see on my particular screen, but yes, that's what it looks like.
I see. And you enjoyed also the colors of these.
Yes.
Photographs?
Yes. I was looking at how kind of aquamarine the sky is. It's an unusual color. And then I'm kind of attracted to the red pitcher. It looks like this little girl is holding either a cup or a pitcher in her hand, and my eye keeps going to that red.
Okay, beautiful. I see. Okay.
Anyone who's watching, is there anything that you're noticing that I'm not?
What more? Well, we can ask, what more can we find? What more can you find? So teachers in the chat. So maybe. Or do you agree with Susan? Are they having a good time or not? What do you see in this picture?
For now, they agree with me.
Yeah, okay.
And then the little girl, it looks to me like she doesn't have shoes, or like she's wearing socks or something like that. And it looks like they are totally free.
Oh, nice. And what do you see that makes you say that they feel like they are totally free?
Well, there's no adults around, right? And they don't seem to have to worry about if they're getting their clothes dirty, if they're getting their hands dirty. Like it's just one of those moments where nobody's necessarily telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that, and the fact that they're kind of inventing a game with it, or just talking, or he's making her laugh. Gives me that impression that that they've been there for a while.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Oh, I like this. I like this way of thinking. So you believe they are enjoying this moment because it's something not planned?
Yes, it's
right?
Spontaneous. Yes,
spontaneous, and no adults around, and they are free to get their hands dirty, their clothes dirty.
Exactly.
To enjoy the moment.
And Catalina wrote, "This is the real childhood." Catalina, tell us more. Does this remind you of even your own childhood? Yes, she said, yeah, this is a real childhood. This also makes me, it does actually bring up some memories for me. Beata, hello. What do you see in this picture? What do you notice? I think that's the first question that we ask in visual thinking strategies. Is that right, Ada?
Yeah, what's going on, actually, but we can ask also what you see, but what's going on? So we want our observers to see like a story in it.
Yeah. So do Beata and Catalina, what kind of a story do you think is happening here? For me too, I guess I'm kind of curious to know, are they brother and sister? Are they cousins? The way they're getting along so well, you almost wonder. sometimes brothers, older brothers and younger sisters, well, maybe that was just my experience, but you're not always having a fun time when you're little.
You see?
But she seems very easy, very much relaxed with him. And Catalina thinks that they're friends.
Thank you. So we have two different opinions here. So they
Yeah.
could be brother and sister or friends. And Susan thinks, okay, maybe if they would be brother and sister, maybe they would not get along that well.
Yeah, she seems very, very relaxed in his company.
You see, but we are kind of revealing something about our own experience, our own childhood here. I mean, without even noticing it. So I understood something from Catalina, whom I don't know actually, or also from you, Susan. So you revealed something about your own childhood. About
Beata also said it looks like it's a really good time. It's childhood without stress.
Great.
Beata, do you? Yeah, it's very different from the way a lot of our children are growing up, because everything is often, they look very happy, very free. Catalina says, yes. And then Hilal says he is the big brother. Yes. Yeah, it's possible.
So we have two different opinions here. So they could be brother, cousins, or friends, or three different opinions, actually. Who knows? Yeah, that's not important. It's important to try guessing, to be creative, but we have different stories here to be told.
I was a little curious about the animals. Well, let me hear. I wonder what our viewers are thinking, because the dog obviously, is very comfortable with them and is sitting right near them. And I love dogs. So for me, that's something that immediately gives me a feeling of, I don't know, comfort, home. And I'm actually kind of curious, that rooster that I see in the background, I wonder if there are other animals in like the farmyard, because I actually would love to live in a place where I could have animals. I always say that I would like to have a place where there were some chickens, and I don't know, where I could feel a little more connected to nature. Beata says, I would like to have an older brother.
Oh.
Beata, I have 3 of them. I can give you one. Extras. No sisters, though. If you have a sister, maybe I'll trade you. That would be fun. And
You see, Susan, thank you very much. I really like also the way you described, your feelings and also your wishes. I mean, you wish to live on a farm or where you could have animals. You see, it was very, very simple and also short strategy, but we have experienced and we have learned so much about each other.
That's true.
And in a normal conversation, that would have never happened. And that's what I really like about that. I mean, that's why I always start the explanation about this method with an exercise like that with the teachers. And I realize we get this very beautiful and deep sense of, getting to know each other, in a different way, not the way we usually do with questions and answers,
And also what I noticed, Ada, is that you did not seem to want to guide me to a certain thought or a certain idea. You just kind of, you were very welcoming of whatever it was that we wanted to contribute to the conversation. And it made me feel comfortable.
Great. Thank you. That was the sense, actually. That's the intention. And I really think it could be something to be trained by teachers, because it's really something we could use more in everyday lessons, I believe. Also, when there is one right answer, but it's kind of sense of welcoming students and not guiding them, really following their own thoughts and ways of thinking.
Yes. And then, like, for example, okay, well, first, I had a question. How important do you think it is for them to observe for a minute? Why 1 minute?
I think it's crucial to be able to just focus on one activity. And that's what actually brought me to visual thinking strategies, because once I was visiting a museum here in Berlin, the 𝗀𝗶𝘀𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗶, and I just observed by chance some children, very small children, I think they were, well, primary school children, and they were sitting in front of a painting and they were silent and focusing on the picture, and said, I have to know what they are doing because it's impossible.
That really seems incredible.
Really, yeah. I said, no, that's not possible. So I just asked the teacher and said, okay, what are you doing now? Tell me the truth. And she told me, what's your secret? And she told me, oh no, we are just having visual thinking strategies. And I Googled it immediately when I came home, and I experienced, and I knew what it was. And that's how it started, actually. And
it's interesting because we also have Catalina, who said, today children are overprotected from their parents. And in some way, it's like we've stolen real life from them or their childhood. And so I sense, and I don't want to take over your job, Ada, but it seems like in Catalina's words, I hear a little bit of like nostalgia for the past, for another time. Yes.
True. And actually, this picture was taken only some months ago. It just was taken in Kenya, but it was taken some months ago. So somewhere, some children are experiencing this kind of childhood, actually. That's also interesting, I believe.
Very interesting. That's actually a good point. I wonder where they are and what country they're in and what their life is like.
I know. So actually, at the end of this activity, you can also reveal your students something about some details about the picture if you want to. So if you want, you can. I know adults are usually even more curious than children. Really. Yes. Teachers, I have to, at the end, I have to tell what the picture is about. Otherwise.
Yes, please tell us.
I know. So these children are not brothers.
Okay.
But they are kind of cousins. Yeah. Cousins. Yeah. And they are living in Kenya. And the small girl is the daughter of the photographer, actually, who is an Italian girl living in Kenya.
An Italian girl living?
An Italian girl, yes. She's married to a Maasai warrior. So
the mother.
Yeah. No. She is. She decided to move there when she was 22, I believe. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, for love. Just.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, and she loves the culture and she lives there. And her little girl is just growing up like
in a very different lifestyle.
A very different way, yeah. But yeah, it's an Italian girl, actually. So
amazing. Very interesting. And you found this on Instagram. And how could a teacher then, for example, I taught English, or if someone teaches history, or if someone how then can the teacher sort of continue this and take this into the lesson?
Well, that's very good, actually, to teach vocabulary, since when you paraphrase, well, you can also add some new words or kind of slightly correct just the words your students are saying, not the sense. So the sense is really what your students want to say, but you can just slightly correct like the form, like add some new words or the grammar maybe, so you can use it to teach a second language. This method is actually very, very popular in Ireland to teach students whose mother tongue is not English, for example.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's very used in our globalized classrooms, actually.
And then I suppose, and then you could also connect it to, you can connect it to geography, you could connect it to history, you can connect it to your native language, and just, learning to use more descriptive language.
You can use it also to teach science, for example. So whatever you want. I mean, it depends the kind of photograph you are using. You can also use, for example, a painting to describe an historical period, for example. I chose one picture for us, one painting for us.
Can we do another one?
Yeah, we can. We can.
Okay, let's see if we can. Okay, we'll try and we'll all jump in and get involved this time.
So yeah.
Okay, let's see the next picture then.
Yes.
Ooh.
So we can have some time to look at the picture together.
Okay. So anyone who's just joining us, we are learning about visual thinking strategies And in this method, in this tool, we would just spend 1 minute observing what we see. Just observing. Okay, teachers, how's it going?
So what's going on?
Go ahead, Ada. You ask us. We are your students, all of us.
Perfect. So what's going on in this picture?
What's going on, teachers? Catalina says, looks like this is in 1930 or 1940.
And what do you see that makes you say that?
Yes, what makes you say that, Catalina? I was thinking that it was earlier than that. And she says, no cars. It's perfect. That's right.
Yeah, no cars, right?
I will add to this. I was thinking it was earlier, but, more like, the turn of the century. And also Catalina notices that the hats, okay, so the fashion, the way they're dressed.
Fashion, yeah.
And another thing that I notice is, obviously it's not exactly, it doesn't seem like it's exactly raining, but it's what we say in English. It's very misty, almost a little bit of fog. And it's, obviously been raining because it's wet on the ground on these cobblestones. Beata says it's a very romantic picture.
Oh, Beata. And what do you see that makes you say that, actually?
Yes, Beata. What makes you say romantic?
Beautiful.
And 𝗀𝗂𝗯𝗷𝗲𝗰 says they all listen to this. She imagines they are newly married and walking under the same umbrella.
Oh, that's romantic, actually.
Yes, yes.
What do you say they're newly married, actually? Oh, that's so interesting.
Yes, I wonder what makes the imagination go and thinking, newly married. And then also, what else do I notice? I'm looking at the shadows. For example, there's that one man walking. And so it makes me think that it's later on in the day because there's this long shadow.
Very clever. Yeah. So then you're noticing also the shadow. So you believe it could be late in the day. So afternoon, maybe late afternoon. I see.
Yes. Yes. Late afternoon. And also, I think it's in France.
Okay.
For me, they are in Paris.
Okay. So it's in Paris. So it could be matching with the romantic idea, right? Of Beata.
Yes. The romantic idea and just the style of the city. I'm looking at the buildings and I'm looking at the way they're dressed. It just makes me think of a lot of other, in this case, as an adult, I have seen paintings, right, from that period. And Beata says, one umbrella and everything is possible. And what kind of things are impossible, Beata? That you can walk together. These two people who are walking towards us, okay, so that are kind of, they're in the foreground, they are very well dressed. And I think it's fascinating how people would go around dressed like that. I mean, when I think about how we are dressed today, I can't imagine going to all of that trouble.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yes.
When you're fascinated by the way they are dressed and they are so elegant. So when you compare this with the way we dress every day. I see.
Yes.
The way this couple in the foreground. And this should be the newly married couple, right?
Yes. According to me and my colleagues here, we think that this is a newly married couple.
But
and
why?
he has a mustache. And Beata is imagining maybe they're going to have coffee somewhere.
Oh, beautiful. And what
yes, maybe like some nice pastries. I'm getting hungry. And then there is this lamppost in the middle, but it doesn't look like it's on yet. So it makes me think, it's like it's in the afternoon, but it's not it's not dark enough for the lamppost to go on. And it's I can see wheels often, for like probably a horse and buggy, a carriage, which is another reason it makes me think, 1890s, something like that. And it's not a very colorful, meaning there's color, but they're very muted colors. And so it gives me this feeling of a little bit of melancholy. And a little bit, a little dreary, a little bit. I prefer places that, I liked the sky in the other picture, because I tend to really be attracted to that blue sky. I don't know if my colleagues agree with me on that.
Let's see.
Yes. Anything else?
What more can we find about it? So we have a newly married couple romantically strolling around under their umbrella. You can see a carriage. So we believe it could be maybe the 19th century, something, the end of it.
Yes. Right at the turn of the century.
Yeah. And it could be Paris. It could be France, because of the buildings, because of the way people are dressed.
Yes. For me, yes. And Beata's also imagining some sweets for everyone.
Oh, that would be great.
Yes. She has a very romantic view of it.
Yeah. You see how much we are really guessing from each other. So the newly romantic couple, the newly married couple, and they are romantically strolling around, or they are waiting to spend their time in a cafe, eating something sweet, It's telling something about the way we like spending our free time,
Yes.
You see, with the people we love, just relaxing, just drinking a coffee and eating something we like.
Yes, strolling. They're not running to be somewhere. They're not rushing around. It makes me think of the traffic that we've had in Florence in the last couple of weeks. Now that, thankfully, a lot of things are opened back up again, but a lot of our old problems immediately came back. And this just looks so lovely. And Catalina is also imagining that they would go and read a newspaper. So they wouldn't be looking at their smartphones.
Yes, so they are really enjoying their own time together. So everybody agrees on that. They are enjoying the company of each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, a romantic moment under an umbrella in a romantic city. Beautiful. I really like the story we imagine here. Thank you so much, everybody.
Ada. And then how would you connect this to your next, how would then you segue into what you want to talk about in more depth with your students?
Actually, in this case, you have noticed a lot of details that tell us when we are, actually. So there are no cars. We have the lamp, the fashion. So we can talk about when this painting was painted, for example, and it was actually 1877. So
okay,
so great, and it was Paris. So great. So we can talk a little bit about the society at the end of the century and this kind of also relaxed way of behaving. Also, this middle class, this wealthy middle class, and also the turning point of the century, So we can talk about this culture, I believe.
Yes.
And then we can start talking about the First World War and everything that's changed, I would use that to introduce this.
And then like how people spent their free time,
Right.
Even if we were to look at it in terms of, social studies and think about the way people were living, the forms of transport. And then I was even thinking how, this can be connected to when we talk about geography, obviously Paris, but even just trying to understand a little bit about the climate.
Yeah, the climate, for example, or also the way people were living in a big city only 150 years ago,
That's true. That is true.
Sometimes students never also don't imagine how life was. I mean, in a big city, what you see, very relaxed.
And you know what I was thinking, Ada? It would be a very interesting way to also include all of the senses. Like, could we also ask our students as a way, because it seems like a very mindful exercise, is something that would help students focus, especially in a moment where, like we said, they're bombarded by a lot of visual stimulation. So here we're using an image, but at the same time, we're asking them to really look at it. And would it be possible to also ask them questions like, if you were there, what do you think? What sounds do you think you could hear?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, why not? Or you can also ask them to write something about it.
Yes. What kind
of sounds you think?
Like, what kinds of sounds do you think you would hear?
No, I would say like the sounds of the carriage, actually, the chariots.
Yes.
On the street. Oh, I really love this sound,
Yes. Yes, of the horse, of the hooves of the horse. And then also even just the sounds of people walking and how it makes a different sound if the ground is wet or if the ground is dry. And then the sound on the umbrella of the rain.
Of the rain.
And Catalina says it can be a very good idea to organize with our children in school one day in 1877. Yes.
Oh. Wow, beautiful. Yeah.
And Hilal is also saying that the sound of the rain, yes. And raindrops on the stones, says Maria Gabriela. Yes.
Beautiful.
It's true. And then I was also thinking, you're going to think I'm crazy. So what does it smell like?
I like this idea.
Smell like?
Yeah. That's very mindful, actually, because in this way we are also thinking about how the perception of the world, actually, with our senses. Beautiful.
Exactly. And it would be so good for them to imagine it. Also for those learners, one of my daughters, when she was in elementary school, the Italian curriculum is very, very heavy on history. And they really spend a lot of time on it. They go through all the way through history several times throughout a student's academic life. And when she was a very little girl, though, she was learning it from the pages of a book. The teacher would explain things, but then she had to go home and read about it and then repeat it. And it was just not her way of learning. And I can remember when she was studying, Florence back in the Renaissance. And there were so many things that she had to remember about the Medicis and about all the guilds and about the different artists. And I remember thinking, if only I could take her and time travel with her for half a day, if we could spend an hour in Piazza Signoria the way it was, she would understand all of it because she would smell it, she would hear it, she would feel it, she could touch it, and it would be a whole experience. And I'm thinking that for our learners that are not so auditory, they're not necessarily that interested in hearing the teacher lecture, and also the students who maybe are not that visual in terms of the printed word on, in a book. That this becomes an experience that then is kind of, because you are also provoking an emotion and talking about emotions, as you and I know, when you take an emotion together with information, it's in your memory in a different way.
Yeah, that's why you're learning so much. You're learning also new words much better, not only
so
concepts. Yeah, so everything. Yeah.
Yes, and Catalina smells coffee and sweets.
Oh, Catalina.
Yes. And I smell, I'm smelling like baguette, from the bakery. And I'm also smelling, I don't know, perhaps just it makes me wonder, because I've heard, and I don't know if it's true in that time in history, though, that people, they didn't have as many clothes as we have now. They didn't have washing machines. They, probably, maybe they didn't wash as often. I even wonder what people smelled like, if they smelled differently.
That's interesting, actually. Maybe the romantic couple in the foreground, maybe could smell, not
If
the way we imagine,
what they used as perfume, and yes. And then I would also, my other thought had to do with what would, the temperature would be like, and what the fabrics felt like. If it's different, we dress in a very different way. Our clothes are produced in a very different way. And that's an interesting thought as well.
You see, and we have a lot of critical thinking involved here. So all these questions, are just starting from a single painting. All these connections, Yeah.
And so this is a real 4 C's kind of an experience.
It is. Yeah, we have been creative. We have been using our critical thinking. We have been, communicating and collaborating all together, you see?
That's right. That's right. And I can imagine if you're in a classroom with 25 students, who all are seeing different things, and in some way they are stimulating each other, because one might start with the story and another one says yes, and then continues, or says, no, I don't think so. But in any case, you're getting them hungry for whatever's going to come next, because maybe afterwards you are going to talk about even something like climate change, sustainability. Maybe you're going to talk about fashion. Maybe you'll talk about, I don't know, something to do with literature. Or I can just imagine all of the different things that can come out of it. But if you go into a lesson saying, okay, children, open your books, page 35. Today, we're going to talk about, what life was like in Paris, during and you've lost them already. Yeah. They're gone. And this way, it's kind of that element of surprise.
Yeah, and they are building the story, actually. They are creating everything on their own.
And it gives, I can see, yes, they could write the story afterwards as well. Fascinating, Ada. I really had not used, Maria Gabriela, who is talking about, then even in grammatical structures, telling the story using used to, people used to walk everywhere, or, it used to be normal to get dressed in a top hat and a bow tie. And now how do we dress,
Beautiful. And, of course, for grammar, there are no limits, of course. Yeah.
And I thank you, Ada. I think this is really a great way for us to use something that's already there, that's already a big part of their lives. And it could then be developed even further with using other kinds of visual thinking, let's say, tools, like even sketchnoting, when you use visual notes in teaching students how to use drawings and different icons and just bits of words to take notes really quick. So you remember things better and in a different way. There's so many fascinating tools here that I definitely want to learn more about, because I would never have thought to use this. Maybe in my case, I would have used a song. And, but some students are not, they might be interested in songs, but they might not be interested in the song that I choose.
Right? In the style. Yeah, maybe. It's from another century teacher.
Exactly. I mean, they also like songs, but it's something, let's say that this is another way to get the conversation going.
And yeah.
And so you have, I know that you have an online course about this. And do you also have a face-to-face course?
Well, of course, I usually teach the visual thinking strategies method in some of my courses, actually.
As a part of your courses.
As
exactly.
a part of, in the student-centered methodologies course, and also in the one about conflict management, actually, because I really believe it is something that helps to create a community in the class.
How?
Yeah. Well, of course, because students will get to know each other, will get to know their interests, and will get to know their own emotions, will develop their empathy, I believe. In my experience, that's what happens, actually. Because, I mean, you get to talk about emotions, you get to listen to how other students are feeling about some different situations. So I believe it's helping a lot.
Because it's kind of a low stakes way of getting to know more about each other without having to reveal anything too personal.
I believe it really works with teenagers, for example, when they are not really in talking about emotions, but with something visual, they start revealing something, as we did, actually,
Yes. And you know what I was thinking, Ada, that when students give presentations, and you know how boring they can be sometimes, right? They give these presentations, these poor kids, because we ask them to do these things that sometimes without really thinking that there are many other ways to do them. And they could use this as a strategy on how to get their fellow classmates listening to them.
Wow, that's a great idea. Yeah, I've never thought about it. Yeah. Why not? There's always something more innovative in innovation. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's like once I start, then I'm going to be thinking about this all night. And so I'm going to be adding things in the chat box. And any of you teachers that are following us, if you have used visual thinking strategies, or if you have any links or anything that you think would be interesting to us here in the Europass community, because, Ada and I are having this conversation, but it's thanks to you and the things that you add that really enrich the conversation. Because the whole idea here is that we are a community that tries to stimulate one another, that tries to support one another, for sure, and even provide some motivation when sometimes we really don't have it. And so, Ada, this was a great idea. Thank you so much for teaching me more about this. And I hope that everyone that's watching us has enjoyed it and gotten a little tool. What I love about it, Ada, is they can use it tomorrow. They can go into the classroom tomorrow and do something that is going to bring an element of surprise and all of those 4 C's. Great strategy. Thank you. And I want to thank everyone for following us, for being with us today, and join us next week, where I am going to have an enthusiastic primary school teacher. His name is 𝘁𝗂𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗶, and he comes from a town near Alicante. He is a man that is full of all kinds of ideas about the 4 C's, about technology, about really how to put the students in the center of the learning process. And he is absolutely a source of, he's a force of nature. And so I hope you will join me next week, 4:30 on Wednesdays. Thank you again, Ada, for everything. And best of luck with your newborn baby. And I hope to meet you in person very soon.
Me too. Thank you very much, Susan. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.